Wow, can you see that back there? That is the tops of the fall trees getting a little last bit of the sun. The sun is setting. That looks really cool, but I don't know if it's showing up as cool. So many parts, so many videos. Parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Talking about being rejected or rejecting someone. Talking about incompatibility or being well matched. Being naturally well matched, obviously good life partners, or being obviously mismatched, not good partners. Trying to force it, one person trying to force it with another, two people trying to force it with each other. I think the best kind of love that I believe in is true love, is two well-matched partners who are capable, willing, ready, desiring, and investing in each other. And it doesn't mean there's not challenges. It doesn't mean it's not hard sometimes. It doesn't mean that you're not going to sometimes be sad or angry or frustrated or feel like maybe this isn't going to work. It's not to pretend that true love, well compatible, matched partners never have any issues. It's acknowledging that. But it's saying we've got to learn. I feel like I've got to learn. I want to learn how to discern between genuine incompatibility versus trying to make it work with someone it won't work with. And I want to really marry the feeling and the teaching of you can manifest anything you want to with an acknowledgement of that is going to be within the context. Oh, see, the sun already went down and now it looks so different. Within the context of what is well suited for you. You can manifest the right specific person. You can manifest a genuinely loving, happy relationship if you open yourself up to that and you stop trying to force it with the wrong person. And that's what I really want to say. That within this idea of manifesting our dreams and being the creator and the co-creator of our own lives is the reality that everyone has free will. Not everybody is compatible with us. When somebody rejects us or we reject somebody else, that's actually in our benefit and in their benefit. Showing up authentically is the path. The path. Like that Buddhist saying, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Authenticity is the path. Compatibility means being true to who you are and being real about what's true to who you are. And walking the path that says, I want to be loved sincerely and I want my partner to be loved sincerely. And that starts with the right ingredients of true love. True love meaning it's true, mutually compatible truth. So whatever part in the series of this these videos of the sense of being it is, and I'm compiling a bunch of different clips together. Today is the day after Thanksgiving, also known as Black Friday, and I like to acknowledge Indigenous Peoples' Day of Mourning for all of the genocide and then the whitewashed history that we got taught and the bullshit lies that they call Thanksgiving. But then I do love to be with my family and give thanks and being filled with gratitude. Filled with gratitude is good. And so I am gonna go work on my video about love yourself. Learn to love another person truly by saying, you know what, I love you so much. I'm willing and able to acknowledge we're incompatible and that it would be better if we don't try to be romantically linked Or maybe the other person's saying that and you don't believe it. You don't want it to be so. You didn't discern that. But they're saying that makes it true. Learning to acknowledge that other people are real. And my version of the truest form of love is believing that your partner is a whole being who gets to choose for themselves, and that in fact the healthiest, most loving love that you can love and experience is two willing, capable, ready, desirous, investing people. So enjoy this series and learn to love being compatible by rejecting incompatible partners. Loving yourself, rejecting someone who doesn't match you is loving yourself. Rejecting somebody who doesn't match you is loving them. Okay, so this is just a bookmark video because I want to do a video about compatibility. I want to do a video about how we believe we should overcome incompatibility because of lack of self-worth, but we wrap it up in this idea of really trying. It's kind of like the idea of like, oh, compromise is how relationships work. It's give and take. But then where's the line? Kind of like I was saying in my rejection video, like there's the obvious rejection of abhorrent behavior, but then it starts to like get blurry, and then like it's not just abhorrent behavior that's being rejected, but actually someone else trying to control you based on what society, family, or social norms are supposed to be. That it's not abhorrent behavior, it's just like it's not fitting in behavior. And what I'm talking about in this sense is when we're in a relationship with somebody who's incompatible, and where do we draw the line? So I just made the important connection between the correlation of being used to not fitting in or belonging at home, growing up with our family, is a perfect setup for us to get into and stay for far too long in romantic entanglements where we actually don't fit in or belong. So just as I'm editing the video right now, I really clicked in my mind, and I wanted to just pop in and add that it really does make sense that when you're growing up and you don't fit in at home, you don't feel that you belong, you don't feel accepted or loved, that would lead to staying in so-called romantic relationships, romantic entanglements, where the person that we're trying to be in a relationship with actually does not match us, and so we don't fit in or belong or get along, but we stay because we're so accustomed to that ill-fitted feeling. We're in a relationship with somebody who's incompatible, and where do we draw the line and say this is something that's incompatible versus this is something that can be overcome or compensated or compromised on? So that's what I'm saying. The line gets blurred between obvious ill-matched deal breakers and then areas where when we come from lack of self-worth, we will often not believe in our own desire to have a certain well-matched characteristic, and so we'll compromise on it when the person that we're trying to work it out with doesn't have that, because we don't think we deserve it anyway. Incompatibility is so important, and whether it's an SP who you're trying to manifest that doesn't want you, or somebody that you're already involved with, but you can't make it work, and you keep telling yourself, maybe my expectation of this partner to be emotionally mature and emotionally available is unrealistic. Then the person that we're trying to manifest a relationship with or trying to sustain a relationship with doesn't have that characteristic. And so instead of us telling ourselves, you know what, they're not compatible with us, we tell ourselves, you know what, maybe wanting that thing is unrealistic, and I need to compromise and dumb down what I want out of someone, not because it's unrealistic for real. Don't believe in our own worthiness to find a compatible partner, so we get focused on it's unrealistic in general. So we tell ourselves it's unrealistic to have a emotionally available, mature partner in general. So that is a subconscious excuse for us to stay with an incompatible partner, because we don't believe in our worthiness of finding a compatible, mature partner, so we stay with an incompatible partner. And also, we ourselves are not mature and capable of rising up to a mature relationship, so we just stay with an incompatible partner, because actually an incompatible partner is compatible when you are immature and you are emotionally unavailable. The only kind of partner you could actually unhappily partner with is another emotionally immature, unavailable person. So instead of realizing, hey, it's me who needs to mature, and therefore that will allow me to be a good match for another mature person, we continue staying in an ill-suited relationship, because that is literally all we are capable of offering. But because you can't realistically see yourself actually obtaining that, and so instead of walking away from an ill-matched partner, we'll stay there trying to work it out with them, because we don't believe we're really worthy of having that thing anyway, or of requesting it. What are the pillars of love that are not something you can compromise? What are the ultimate crucial things to build this lifelong relationship? For me, it might be different than for you. And how do we discern between things that we can learn to work around versus characteristics of compatibility that are not negotiable? Non-negotiable compatibility. What aspects are non-negotiable compatibility factors that you require to build a happy relationship with someone, and how to discern those for yourself? So it turns out that the more I work on this video, the more I recognize that incompatibility can't be ignored. And the idea that we can be compatible with someone who either isn't choosing us or that we're actually not compatible with, I believe is the heart of most heartbreak. Whether you're breaking your heart because you believe that someone who you can't make it work happily with is someone somehow you should make it work out with, and we stay sometimes for years, sometimes for a lifetime. You stay in that unhappy relationship, in that incompatible relationship. And I really feel that it's crucial that I say this aspect, that unrequited love, which is not really love, and ill-suited relationships, which is also not really love. Yes, you can love someone. So, okay, it's love, but it's not compatible romantic marriage love. And not everybody is together because they want to get married. Not everybody is with someone with the intention of getting married. The problem is not when two people who love each other and they're happy and they're not going to get married and that's what they both want are together unmarried. That's not an issue. The issue is when it's incompatible because one person wants something more, or it's incompatible because one person wants an emotionally available, emotionally intimate relationship and the other one isn't capable. And this is the crucial thing. It's chilly. I'm gonna go in. The crucial thing that we must recognize if we really want to manifest this happy, loving relationship is that you can't wait around for somebody to become mature. It took me years to accept and acknowledge that I was just as emotionally unavailable as my baby's daddy. When we first got back together, I wanted, in my mind and heart, I believed I was ready for marriage. I was ready to get serious, get committed, get married, have a family. I wanted it, but I actually didn't believe I was worthy or capable. So my ex, who now is my children's father, he was my ex from high school. And over the 16 years between when we broke up in high school and when we got back together as adults, we would see each other every few years and we would have sex. And it always, was just like, it meant nothing. We never talked about it. It never went anywhere. We even had a few months where we started hanging out a lot and sleeping over at each other's houses and having sex. And I thought, oh my God, we're really getting back together this time. And that was back in 2003. And then it didn't happen and I was devastated. And then it didn't happen because he was nowhere near ready. And obviously I wasn't either. But this is the point that I'm making. He was so obviously, blatantly not ready. And I just need to acknowledge the fact that although I'm saying he was not ready and I was not ready, we were not compatible. So no amount of readiness would have made us compatible. But the fact that neither one of us was actually ready to have a truly intimate romantic partnership was also a red flag. The lack of readiness was a red flag that we weren't compatible, even though we were not compatible, and we wouldn't have been compatible, ready or not. Ready or not, we weren't compatible, but not being ready was a definite red flag of incompatibility that we ignored. And so obviously, clearly, emotionally unavailable, that I was able to blame it on him, in myself, in my mind, in my heart. I was able to say, I'm ready, but he's not. So I am going to be loving and patient and kind and understanding, and I'm going to work with him, and we're going to get there. Like a little train that could, we're going to get there. And guess what? No. You, like Abraham Hicks says, you can't get there from here. You can't drag an emotionally unavailable person into emotional availability. And if you, or if I, am willing to do that work, what that's actually proving is you're actually not emotionally available either. And what really became clear to me is that I was fooling myself that I'm emotionally available, I'm emotionally mature, I'm emotionally ready, and I'm over here doing all this work to be patient and understanding of him and to give him the time that he needs to catch up to me so that we can together make this relationship work and be a happy, loving partnership. But the truth is that if I was actually emotionally available and if we were actually compatible, then I wouldn't have had to try to wait around for 7 years to see if he was going to finally come around to wanting it, and only to find that each year our relationship got worse and worse. You know, he started off with, I'm not really ready to make that deeper, realer commitment. Let's see where it goes. And then where it went wasn't good. And so every time we argued or we disagreed, he would use that to prove, you see, I told you we weren't ready. And I would always say, the fact that you're looking for reasons to prove why we can't make it work is why it's not working. You make a commitment and you make it work. You start with the commitment and then you make it work, instead of starting with, prove to me that you're worthy.
Please hang up and try again.
Whatever the mental mindfucks were, I told myself, our incompatibility can be overcome. If I could only twist and contort and shrink myself, spread myself thin, shorten myself, whatever the fuck I needed to do to manipulate the situation so that me and him could stay together and be happy, I was willing to do. But the fact is that that's not how happy, loving, committed marriages work. Through this process, it's just becoming so clear that incompatibility really is the biggest issue, the biggest heart of the issue, and how it's so crucial that we learn how to discern incompatibility in ways that are like structural beams that we need to build this healthy, stable, secure, sustainable relationship, this life, shared lives that we would live with a romantic partner, or even in a friendship or business situation, setting, environment, partnership kind of thing. Allowing ourselves to recognize that when someone can't choose us, doesn't choose us, won't choose us, it's because of incompatibility. And that if someone finds us incompatible, then that makes them incompatible. If someone finds us incompatible to them, then that inherently makes them incompatible to us. And allowing ourselves to not believe we have to overcome incompatibility, not believe that we're not worthy of actually having that partner that matches us well in those areas, and having the willingness to walk away from an incompatible partner or an attempt of an incompatible relationship. Recognizing that it's not a flaw for not being able to make it work with somebody who you're incompatible with. In fact, it's a strength to say, I recognize, I discern that the things that I need in my life that are really crucial to me are not things that you're compatible with, or we're not compatible in the things that I've decided are really important to me. So even though you might be happy with me, if I'm not happy, then having true self-love is the ability to discern that even though I'm in love with you and I find you sexy and beautiful and so many things about you I adore, the fact is that you're not inherently compatible to be my life partner, to be my husband. And the more genuine I am about admitting that, the more likely I am to genuinely meet up with the right person. I truly believe that the only way to truly, genuinely love somebody, true love them, is to fully know them, to fully acknowledge the truth of them, and to fully embody the knowing that they are a fully capable person who's choosing of their own free will to be with you, and that genuine, actual, real love means I love who you really are, not who I fantasize you to be, not half of who you are while ignoring another whole entire half of your personality or being or person or body or mind or emotional system. You know, not just loving some of someone and then saying, well, if all this other crap about you wasn't real, we could be really happy. That's not really love. Love is knowing and acknowledging and being able to accept and live with and be happy with the totality of someone. That doesn't mean you love every single thing about them, but that the things that you don't love that much, you can still live with, you can still celebrate, you can still accept them, you can still be with this person, even with those things that are not the best, but that those things aren't deal breakers or really huge incompatible areas that you just gloss over because you love this so much. You know, that's what I believe true love really is. Mature, emotionally available, emotionally intelligent, actual love that two people are building a relationship together. Otherwise, it's just a fantasy or an entanglement or a fixation on something that isn't actually real true love. Keep on watching to hear me talk more about true love and compatibility and incompatibility. Can you truly love? Can you truly love and accept the person that you think you love so much? Can you actually love and accept them? Or do you have to break apart who they are in order to love them? And can you see how when you're not actually fully compatible with someone, you're only partially compatible with someone, but then you believe that they could change those things that are incompatible, that you're actually not loving them, you're not seeing them, respecting them, accepting them, or being honest? And to blame yourself that it's not working? How about you just get out of that situation and you move forward and you learn to develop some self-love and some self-worthiness, self-love and self-worthiness, so that you say, I deserve somebody who actively wants to be my partner. And that it is pathetic and desperate. That's why it's not working. It's not working because you're impure. It's not working because any love that you manifest from a pathetic, desperate place where you don't believe in your worthiness and somebody who's saying no to you, you still are going after them, like begging them, literally saying to yourself and or to them, I can't live without you, you know, I'm nothing without you. Like, what do you mean? That is a terrible way to think. And even if you try to sugarcoat it in all this supposed self-love, if your ultimate goal is to manifest a relationship with somebody who's not actively investing in you, you are operating from a lack perspective. When I first found that person's YouTube channel, I was in a place of kind of pathetic desperation, hoping I could somehow make this thing work. And at first, her very sort of matter of fact, like, of course this can work. This can work if you just focus on self-love and you do you and all that kind of stuff. And I spent all the time that I really needed to do that. And what it brought me to was the truth that when you truly love yourself, you don't keep trying to fit into a situation that doesn't work. You don't keep trying to make yourself small. You don't keep trying to force a no into a yes. When you have self-worth and you truly believe in your ability to manifest love and connection and alignment, you're able to take the relationships that didn't last as long as you'd hoped and use them for your own growth instead of trying to force somebody who's not aligned and compatible to make it work with you. That's not growth. That's not manifestation of true love and pure love. Pure love would be true love, and true love is when both people truly want it together. And I just hope that there are not too many people getting abused because they're listening to those really junky belief systems, and like snap out of it, wake up, realize that when they don't want you, there's nothing you can do except to move away and move on, and just accept that. Like, be humble enough to accept that somebody chose not to be with you. Be humble enough to recognize that not everybody is for you. Be humble enough to recognize that you can't be compatible with everybody, and be humble enough to acknowledge that other people do have free will. Everybody has free will. So teaching and preaching otherwise is not actually manifesting, because that's not reality. Everybody has their own inherent nature, and everybody has their own inner being, or your outer being, your higher being, your spark of light that is you, that is your unique free will, and nobody can take that away from you. Okay? And you can't take that away from another. And you can't manifest someone unless they want to be manifested by you. You can absolutely manifest the right person, and if the person who you think is the right person, then they will be manifested once you align. But most likely, if you are hung up on somebody who's not choosing you, you're probably not aligned. It kind of goes hand in hand. Like, you can't be desperately wanting something that doesn't fit and be aligned. Like, that inherently is showing that wanting someone who isn't aligned with wanting you means you are not aligned. And often when we get aligned, we realize that the person who's correct for us is not the person we thought we wanted. That's healthy manifestation. What I would love to advise is that the healthiest way to love somebody who you're not compatible with, the healthiest way to love somebody who you can't make it work with, they didn't choose you, they've got somebody else, they live too far away, or whatever the reason is that it's not working. You've got different worldviews and mindsets. You're just not compatible. The healthiest way to love that person, I believe, is to be joyful and thankful and filled with gratitude for all the beautiful, wonderful, fun-loving, amazing ecstasy, the pleasure, the joy, the happiness that you experienced with them. To hold that in your heart with gratitude and to feel the joy and the love of it, but to also be able to move forward in a mature fashion that says, but even though all this beautiful stuff we experienced and shared is real, I also recognize that the rest of what we experienced or didn't experience is real. Meaning we never got to the get engaged and the get married and commit to life thing. Or we did, but now it's time to separate. Love the great, beautiful stuff that you had with that person, while also loving that it's time to move forward. It's time to move on. It's time to heal and to get mature. It's time to love that person for not being able to go any further, or for yourself not being able to go any further, and to just say, I'm not going to shit all over all the good stuff that we had and tell myself it was a waste and a failure. No, allow it in your heart. Allow yourself to love it, but also love the whole full thing. It's not compatible to continue sustaining it. It's time for me to move forward. And that, I believe, is the healthiest way to love someone. Love Living Peach.